Everybody they got 5 people. They got 5 people. They got 2 of them.
How you doing? How's it going? Get over here. Yeah. Yeah. I decided. The seat for my daddy. She was actually 83. It's kind of nice because she measured it up. There's a picture of her that they placed. I put it there. She didn't
Let's get the cards. Here, you want? So what do we want to do?
I'll send it to Chester First Major Picture 1959. Down, I think, at least it's 40 survives. Crash. Was it Florida? Florida. I cut down a good distance. Also, the car was just going to close with an H4 dress. You know, it makes sense for these buildings. This is still. He was down. It's called You've been speaking up. Click so hard into the end because I mean, or something. But they were using so I guess And see, she got the meds to fill and use it, and she better than out there. But I never did one of those. I had some regret. I didn't want to see
You got to have a hand there. It's bad. It's upset.
I mean, she understood perfect. I gotta figure
That's why I want to I know we did. Oh yeah, I got this. I'm part of it. You know I'm part of it. Work off some of that. Yeah, when all four of them be together.
Did you get your camera?
She said, I'll make sure our film is like that. The video. Sometimes she didn't know whether they were doing it. Well, I left one time when I was in close. I should have stayed. There's some accusations.
You're with Elton.
I was talking to Sandy about he was telling me that he actually said the auditors had people here first. No, he said the auditor had the first day. They had people here. That's the only day they came. He was telling me some other stuff. They still can't get their hands on the place stuff. But I'll go let help.
Thank you so
No, sir.
Mr. Boswell, you're pretty good at anticipating.
Go back there.
You're trying to run, so you know we'll.
Well, I'm sick of the taste. Mother dead, I still got two levels of stuff stored away there. Kind of my dad. That's really big show right here. I'm talking about
Is it the gentleman with the hat?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate each of you taking your time and your interest to be here in City Council chambers, and for those who are also watching virtually, we appreciate your attention and we appreciate your attendance. I'm Reuben Blackwell. I'm council member for Ward 2. And this to my right is Council Member Andre Knight, Ward 1. Council member on my left, Richard Joyner, Ward 3. And we're here tonight to begin a series of conversations and discussions about the city budget. You have heard much news, which is not good news, but our city manager and our mayor have provided information to you at a higher level. But all of us on the council, and especially the three of us, also felt that we needed to dive deeper so you could see exactly what took place, when it took place, how it took place, and what our postures were during the entire process. That's important to understand about how we got to where we are, but it's even more important to understand how we're going to move forward, because we love our city, don't we? And we're here to ensure that our city is sound and solid, and that we have a powerful vision and a dynamic economy for all of us. So going forward, we'll still give people, please welcome, come on in, find a seat. what we do want to do is just sort of talk about ground rules. First of all, this is not a city council meeting, okay? This is not a city council meeting. So city council rules do not apply in these meetings. This is a town hall meeting, which means that we get a chance to provide information to you and then take your questions and then try to work to provide answers. What we're going to try to do tonight is give you a factual overview. The information that we've asked our manager and our finance director to provide is the same information. All 8 of us have the same information. You won't be seeing or hearing anything any differently from one council member town hall to the other. The information will be consistent, but there are 8 of us, 7 of us who vote, council members 1 through 7, a mayor who is voted at large, who manages or who facilitates the conversations and the meetings, but who is accountable to everyone in the city of Rocky Mountain. And so all of us have our own perspectives, all of us have our own points of view, and all of us have participated the way we have. It's all public record. We did it in the open, and we're here to be accountable to you. So we have no problem rehearsing history because it is what it is. So tonight, what our overview is going to do after we have our prayer, as is customary in the city of Rocky Mountain, we're going to ask our city manager and finance director to provide information, and then the 3 of us, as council members, will give our perspectives on how we got to where we are, and what we hopefully plan to do to move forward. We're going to take your questions, but because this is very high energy, a lot of opinions, I've seen some stuff on social media, most of which is absolutely incorrect. To be honest, most of what I've seen has been incorrect. But we want to make sure that we get as much opportunity for the true facts to get out. So we're going to ask Grant Robertson, if you have a question or a comment, we're going to ask that you complete a card, fill it out, we'll read it in the open, and then we'll address it. We'll do it until we can get the question satisfied. There are many things that are still under investigation. Some things we know, some things we don't know. But that's what we'll be deliberating, and I ask that you continue to come to each of our meetings, both city council meetings as well as committee of the whole meetings. They're all open and they're public, unless we talk about things that are privileged or personnel or legal matters. So this is your city, this is your council, and this is your business. At this time, Reverend Burston, we're going to ask that you lead us in prayer, if you would. And I'd like to ask everyone who can stand to please stand.
May we pray. Eternal God, our Father. It's me again coming before thee, as humble as we know how. We come with gratitude, knowing that you have kept us another day.
Yes, Lord.
Heavenly Father, we come thanking you for life, health, and for strength.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, Lord, Eternal Father, for standing by us when our way was dark, our burdens were heavy.
Yes.
We thank you, Eternal Father, for intervening in our situation.
Yes, Lord.
We need you today.
Yes.
We can't get along without you.
Yes, Lord.
But Lord, you've been good to us.
So good.
You brought us from a long way.
Yes, Lord.
And Lord, we come at this time to ask thee if that will be in our meeting.
Please, Jesus.
Take control.
Yes.
Let your will be done.
Yes.
Heavenly Father, speak to our minds and our hearts,
Yes, Lord.
that we may do the thing that is pleasing to thee.
Yes.
Bless us now, Lord.
Please.
Oh God, you've been mighty good.
Yes, Lord.
You've been better to us than we've been to ourselves.
Jesus.
You brought us, Heavenly Father.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
What you've done and what you're still doing.
Yes, Lord.
Forgive us for our sins.
Please, Jesus.
Bless this city councilman.
Yeah.
Bless this town hall meeting.
Yes.
Heavenly Father, we pray that it will be meaningful.
Yes.
That we will learn each other.
Yes.
Help us, the eternal Father, to stop criticizing one another.
Yes.
Help us to help one another.
Yes.
Oh God, help us that we may help the city.
Yes.
In the city, help our members.
Yes.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
Oh God, we ask.
We ask.
We ask it all, Father.
Yes.
Forgive us all for our iniquities. All our transgressions. Forgive us, Lord, for the wrongs that we have done. We have said.
Yes.
Forgive us, help us to look to the hills from which cometh our help.
Please, Jesus.
Our help coming from thee.
Yes.
And the Father, help us to realize that we may do for nothing.
Yes.
But joy comes in the morning.
Yes, Lord.
Oh God, let not your coming be in vain. Let us be rejoicing
Yes.
over the God of our salvation.
Yes.
Thank you now, Lord, for being saved. Sanctified, filled with your Holy Spirit.
Yes, Lord.
For calling us into your for saving us. For your Son, Jesus Christ. We love you with all our heart. Bless us now.
Yes.
Bless each person that is here under my voice. We pray that thou will bless the condition of our city.
Yes, Lord.
Heavenly Father, bless our senior citizens
Yes,
who's
Lord.
having a heart
Yes.
and he's to oppress them more. But Heavenly Father is in your hand.
Yes, Lord.
You can save and you can make whole. We pray that you'll do just that. In the name of Jesus, the Son of God,
Yes.
who suffered and died on yonder cross
Yes.
for our sins. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Thank you so much, Reverend Burson. Father of our city, we appreciate you.
Hallelujah.
Okay, you guys got to stir it up now. We're getting ready to have still a public meeting. And just so if you don't believe like Reverend Burson does or others do, you got room for your own belief. We appreciate that. And give you opportunity to be who you are as well. So this time we'd like to turn over to our city manager, Mr. Elton.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Blackwell. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Elton Daniels. I am the current city manager. I was promoted back in April, but I've been with the city for just over 6 years. And so with that said, I want to give you a little bit of background for myself as well as Cheryl Spivey, our new Director of Finance, who started back in July. So this is just a little bit about our background. I'll start with Cheryl. Cheryl has over 35 years of local government experience. She was actually at one point the assistant director for the local government commission, the LGC, from 1997 to 2000 in the fiscal management division. And she served in just about all of the larger communities in North Carolina, as well as a few municipalities and counties in Virginia. So that's a little bit about her, a little bit about myself. Again, my name's Elton, and I've been here for 6 years. Been in the manager seat since April. Been in the city for about, I think 6 years as working, but over 10 years as a resident. Previous positions held by myself. I was a manager of Sharpsburg in the early 2000s. I've also been assistant county manager in Franklin County, manager of settlement, and also been magistrate judge in Frederick County for a short period of my career. So just a little bit about our background, and then we'll get into the facts of what we know now, and we'll allow for times for questions. So council members, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to stop me and I'll try to provide all the clarity and Joe's going to provide backup. Thank you. So moving into some of the, I guess I wouldn't call them rumors, but some of the misinformation that's out there. Number one, what we've been hearing over the last couple of days since we made our announcement is that the city has a $30 million deficit. The answer to that is false. No, the city does not have a $30 million deficit. We do have a fund balance, which is similar to our savings account that has significantly been reduced over the last couple of years. So let me repeat that again. The city does not have a deficit. In fact, North Carolina municipalities cannot operate in a deficit. That's why we have the local government commission that comes in prior to that occurring. Will there be cuts to police and fire? Unfortunately, the answer to that is yes. All departments will experience some reductions. Initial cuts will be targeted to non-essential vacancies, newly created roles or positions not authorized by the city council. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, there was positions that the city had throughout every department that were not officially authorized. And so we want to start by eliminating those. Reductions in the police department, we're estimating at this point, will be about 10 to 15 positions. Not all of them will be actually sworn officers. There could be some administrative positions as well. But and then in the fire, about 5 to 10. I think we saw somewhere some report that was not accurate that said there's about 27 police officers. That's not true. When did the fund balance begin to decline? Again, the fund balance is what we as local government professionals call our savings account. That decline started in 2023, according to what we have on record. And we'll show a chart that depicts this. How much money does the city currently have? Currently, the city has in all of our accounts approximately $20 million, with about $8 million of that 20 restricted for specific use. I don't know if you all recall, but there was a point in time where we received a state grant that was for the judicial center and so we still have that cash, but it has to be used specifically for those two reasons. So now let's get into the chart. It's a little hard to see here, but I'll try to use my laser pointer. Actually, the laser pointer doesn't work on that, so bear with me. Those points on the chart start, that first white box going to the far left is the year 2019. 2019, the city had approximately $113 million in our cash and investments. So that's pre-COVID. In 2020, which is during COVID, August of that year, we had approximately $108 million in that savings account. So if you go from 2019 to 2022, you don't see too much fluctuation in those numbers. In 2021, you have $121 million. In 2022, you have $115 million. So remember back in 2019, we started with around 113, and in August of 2022, we still had $115 million. So not a whole lot of fluctuation within those few years. However, in 2023, you see a steep decline. So starting in 2023, we have about $100 million, and then at the end of fiscal year 2024, we had about $65 million, and then you bring us to the day where we have about $20 million left. So you see that decline started in 2023 down to where we are today.
So Mr. Daniels, because we've heard a lot of absolutely inaccurate information about what was passed down to where we are today. Let us, on this side, talk about who was sitting in the seat in 2019. Okay. We'll do that.
Okay. When you say sitting in the seat, what
City manager?
as city manager in 2019, that would have been Miss Rochelle Smartoni. She was who hired me in 2019.
So she was here from 2019, and her exit time was January 2022. So what I want the audience to be able to do is look at she came here in 2017, but on this picture, on this data, this chart, it starts with 2019. Do you see that? Does everybody see? I want to be clear. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Rochelle Smaltoni helped create a balance of $13 million. We dipped down during COVID Let's rehearse what happened. The whole world shut down. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
We received funding from the federal government. We shut down City Hall for the most part, with the exception of essential workers, and everyone still got paid. You understand that? Everybody got paid. We delayed major improvements and major purchases. But when Ms. Maltoni left in January 23, 2022, we don't have that data point here, but in August of 2022, there was $115 million and change. Do you see that? All of us on City Council and the mayor, we all have that information. Then we had an interim period of time when we asked our assistant city manager who had retired to come as an interim manager from January 24, 2022 to March 7, 2023. But we still had about $100 million in the bank. The decline started when the new city manager, Keith Rogers Jr., was hired in March 8, 2023. And when he left, well, we started with, I can't read that little right, March 2023 was how much? How much? August 2023 was $100 million. When he left in August 2024, how much do we have? $65 million. Did you see that? Is that clear?
Yes.
And then it kept sliding. Kept sliding. All the way down. And Peter came back. And then internally, we said we don't need to go much longer with another interim. And we don't need to do another national search.
Right.
If we already have somebody here who knows our city, knows city finance, and has a good working relationship with everyone. We did not have a permanent, well, yes, we did have a permanent finance director. That's not true.
Yeah, we did.
Mr. Rogers hired a permanent finance director. We'll talk about that part later. But when Mr. Daniels, okay, the age fan, you sit down. Mr. Daniels was here in 30 days, almost. And Cheryl, thank you.
Yes.
We found somebody who has a sterling reputation throughout the state and much of the country. And we were able to finally recognize that our finances have not been managed appropriately. I'm going to say it again. After Mr. Daniels came and he hired competent staff and he answered questions, because for almost 2 years, questions were unanswered.
That's right.
And then we started finding out the situation was not good. Thank you.
You don't have to do that.
Thank
City
you.
manager, can you talk about a little bit about what happened in that period with different types of contracts, different types of hires within that time?
I'll do what I was privy to.
Okay.
So one of the things I want to go back to, you mentioned hiring a finance director. So one of the things the board decided to promote me from assistant to city manager, my number one goal was trying to find a certified finance director. It is my opinion that the city had not had a certified finance director in over 3 to 4 years. You'll go back to the information about Cheryl and you'll see one of the things that sticks out about her is that she has a CPA. She's a certified public accountant. So that was one of my main things that I wanted to try to do. And I know it's tough because finance directors are hard to come by, but they're also, when my network, I was able to tap into my network and get her in here within a short period of time. She was scheduled initially to come in June, but because she wanted to complete her contract in Virginia, she was not able to come. I think it was July 7th was her first day. But as soon as she got in here, we got to work and start trying to pull up these documents. And so going back to the other hires, can't really speak to everything, but I do know that some of the individuals that were hired were not certified public accountants. They didn't have a local government experience with regard to budget and finance, and not just small town, not even any town the size of Rocky Mount. And Rocky Mount is very unique. We are a lecture city. We have an event center. We have business accounts. We have enterprise funds. We have a budget totaling this year, I think, of $279 million. So it's very hard for someone to come in with limited experience to come in and manage the finances of a complex organization such as Rocky Mount. Now, I do think we have a team that currently building. Cheryl's a big part of that team, but we still have more room to go. Some of the contracts I'm not really privy to because I was not in finance or budget, but it's my understanding that there were some contracts that were entered into that were not done appropriately, and that was under previous administrations.
I'd just like to chime in on that. About employees that were not qualified in that area of finance. It was said numerous of times from these lips that I'm speaking from tonight, right in this chamber. I asked the city manager, how can you hire an accounting 2 from Wilmington? I think it was from UNC Charlotte, making $66,000, and now she's making $170,000. I said, that's $110,000 more. You're not even a CPA. Said that numerous of times, sitting right up here on this dais. I said it to the council members in public. And it was 3 people that challenged that. But council members only hire the city manager, the clerk, and the attorney. Numerous of time for those who attend council meeting. That's why it's very important. If you can't attend, you can watch it. We have all this technology. It was stated in the public square. How can a manager sign a contract over $90,000 without coming to this board? One particular meeting, I held up the administrative policy. And I said, how can this council allow them to do that? During that time, I believe the plan or the, I'm trying to be politically correct, since I've just been reborn again.
Just tell
Pray that prayer.
truth and make it sweet.
It was said in the public square that Andre and Ruben have been running the city council, that we've been here over 20 years. We are old. We need to get out of the way for the new thing. I called in on WNCR. Had great debates with Bronson Williams. I called on WHIG TV. Had debates with Sandra about how the manager was adamant against Andre and Ruben. And some felt empowered because when he was hired, they said we needed someone, and some of you all sitting out here said it and said it on social media. We need a manager that would stand up to Andre and Ruben. But what they didn't know, Andre and Ruben and Richard was not afraid. We had some knockout, drag outs, not just in closed session, but in the public square. One contract he signed for $800,000. Another contract signed by another assistant city manager for $300,000. for a housing study and for a comp study. And so those are the kind of things that we were saying in the public square, and it was printed in the newspaper, it was said on local media, and it's in the minutes. And the minutes don't lie. The last thing I want to say, because I know we got time, that when it came to giving increases, we asked for the comp pay plan. We never got it. And I said to this council, we can fire his butt right now. I said, because if my boss asked me for something and I didn't get it, I would be fired.
Right.
But he was empowered up to a certain point because of some of you in this room, perhaps in social media, wanted somebody that could go toe to toe with these two. And that's how the blind eye or the nod was given. As long as you can do that and do it in public, then you get a pass, in my opinion. And when we would ask for information, he would say to both of us, we'll get you a full report. If we don't have it, we'll get you a full report. So today, guess what? You get a full report. Thank you.
Let me say thank you, City Manager, that our senior councilman has not been disrespected in any way to our former city manager, just asking for accurate information. And information that will help us as city council to make accurate decisions. You cannot make accurate decisions if you don't have accurate information. And we were not given that accurate information. And some of us forced our opinion and some of our closed sessions. And some of us did it differently, but we did it. And Andre Rubin, understanding budget. They've gone through multiple budgets. They understand when something was not being done right.
Right.
You know, it's just what happened when you are senior city council person.
Right.
And when you're not senior city council person, you haven't gone through this for 21 years, there's just information you don't have. And there's no reason to disrespect somebody based on their experience. And so that did happen. And so it ended up that information that could have helped us early on, that we could have captured this way early on, was not given to us. And so I do say that for those who thought that we should fight two city council persons, it's totally wrong.
Right.
That we want to stand as a united front, and we did that. Even in our process of bringing in the city manager, there was our differences. We tried to plug in for those differences. We tried to make adequate support for what our new permanent city manager did not have. Asked him to get a mentor person to help him in the first year to make right decisions. That person was dismissed within 2 weeks.
So can I do this? Can we do this? Because we getting deep quick.
Yes.
But we're gonna tell y'all what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing and we don't address it. The lies that are perpetuated on social media. And many folk, and many in this room, have taken them as gospel truth and tried to weave a tale that's nothing but a lie.
Right.
We called the LGC. They didn't call us. Let's be clear about that. Nobody sitting up here is afraid of the LGC. Because these three people did the right thing. Or the state auditor. They came the first time. came to OIC for 7 months and found nothing because there's nothing to find.
All right.
What they found is that we're one of the best run nonprofits in the state. You don't want to hear that, do you? But we know how to count and we know how to do right and adhere to the law. So, Mr. Manager, go back and finish the financial presentation. I know we got a little off, but what I don't want you to miss this slide. Keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind, and you see where the slides starting to occur.
Well, one thing that I would like from our staff standpoint is that you all, pay attention to the slide. But my goal moving forward is that, while we have some very difficult days, months, years ahead, my goal is that under my administration, you'll see that slide go the opposite direction and will go up. So that's my commitment to the council. That's my commitment to you and the public. And that's Cheryl's commitment as well. I don't want to speak for you, Cheryl, but you second me on that, correct? Yeah. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We definitely have some difficult days, months, years ahead. But all of us working together, we will definitely make this go in the right direction. So that's all I have on that slide. So you might ask, how do we get here? That's a lot of money over a short period of time. And so we'll go to this next slide. This is our annual expenditures. So I know that the writing is small, but I'm going to do my best to kind of just tell you, looking at the colors. So the first line, the top line, the Carolina blue color, that steep increase shows from 240 million to 300 million. So that's the city's total expenses in 1 year. It grew from 240 to 300.
In 1 year?
Yes, sir, in 1 year.
So can you tell us what each vertical column represents?
Yes, so each column represents the orange row.
Vertical.
The vertical. Okay, yeah, so the columns are dollar signs, and that's the fiscal year. So the first column is 2019, the second column is 2020, and then so on. And then the last column is 2025. So starting in 2019, let's go the first couple of years. We always like to do stuff before COVID because the year COVID kind of just changed everything. But in the 2019, we had approximately $205 million for our annual expenditures. And so for the next couple of years, it rang around that same amount, 212, 213, 222. We were at 232, and then 240 in 2023. So in 2023, where you see that steep incline, it went from 240 to 300 in one fiscal year. And so
one moment. Can I just ask y'all to do this because it might be hard for you to see? If you got your cell phones with you, go ahead and point it there, take a picture of it, and then maybe you can blow it up on your phone so you can see it better.
And also after tonight, we'll have this stuff available online. And you can
so it'll be right on the website. But tonight, if you want to be able to see the actual numbers, you can follow it. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so if you go down, so that's the columns. And if you look at the rows, you'll have, let's go down to the dark blue. That line is pretty flat. That's our salary and wages. So a lot of things that we've seen online talked about the comp study, as well as some of the people talked about in public, the comp study and the salary increases that occurred with the police department. So while that was a significant increase in 2023, we went from around 80 million to 100 million. That wasn't the largest increase. The largest increase occurred in our capital and debt services. So when I say capital and debt services, I mean like large purchases, fire trucks, public works trucks, debt. I know we purchased land, so the debt associated with that, that's what's included in that. And from 2023 to 2024, we were at 26 million and we increased to 67 million. So in one fiscal year, we had an increase in personnel costs of about 10 to 15 million on top of increase in capital and debt services from 26 million to 27 million.
So when you add those two together, what's the net impact within that period of time?
170 million?
Yes. Yes.
170 million.
Yeah,
170.
170 million.
Out of that total budget of,
279 million.
okay.
So this right here goes into this is a little bit better to see. So when you have a governmental operations, you have a bunch of funds. The general fund is typically the fund that operates most of the services that you all are familiar with. Your public works, your trash pickup, your fire department, your police department, city manager's office. A majority of our funds are in the general fund. And if you look at the chart, we go back to 2020 here. So in 2020, the first column, you have about 16 million. 2021, you have about 18 million. 2022, you have about 20 million. And in fiscal year 23, we have 18 million. And so from 2023 to 2024, we dropped down from 18 million to 6.5 million. And so that's a decrease of 65% in one fiscal year. And this is our unassigned fund balance. So if you remember when I first talked about fund balance, this is our savings account. So this is the large majority of where the funds were taken from is from our savings account in one fiscal year. In 2023 is Keith Rogers.
So did you all hear that in 2023, former city manager Keith Rogers, when he came, it was 18 million, almost 19 million in fund balance, correct?
Correct.
And then they'll be in 2024, it's 6 million, 6.5 million.
And it's important to note that right now we're currently going through our audit process. You know, before this was brought to light and before we were doing anything with the local government commission or the state treasurer's office, we have to maintain an audit each fiscal year. The last audit that was submitted was actually submitted, I think, 6 or 7, even 8 months late. Each year is typically due October 31st of the calendar year. However, the LGC has changed the deadline. So this fiscal year, it won't be due until December 31st. And so once we're finished with reconciling our accounts and finished with our audit process, we will know where we are for fiscal year 25. But as of fiscal year 24, we were at 6.5 in our general fund balance.
Can you say a little bit about that audit? Once you do that audit report and it's presented to the council, and being 6 months late, what is the impact of the information that we need to give?
It's hard to determine where you are fiscally if you don't know what your bank account is. I'll give you a prime example for if it was your personal account. If you hadn't checked your checkbook, I know a lot of people still use checks, but if you hadn't checked your online banking or whatever in over 6 months, there's no telling how much money you have in there. And when you haven't reconciled, which is basically balancing your books, it's hard to determine how much cash flow you have. And that's what happened. So we didn't submit our audit until I think it was May when it was due in October. And so now we're in the process of trying to complete the audit and make sure that we get it turned on this time so they can let us know where we are. Because while staff does a good job, or we try to do a good job of balancing our books, we always like to have a third party to verify what we've done. And so we're currently in the process of reconciling our accounts. But since I've been the manager, we've done a better job, but we're still 13 months behind. That's what we inherited. So when Cheryl walked into the door, we're 13 months behind in reconciling our accounts.
So did y'all hear that?
Yeah, we can.
Did y'all hear that? So I will say it one more time, and forgive us if we're using terminologies that we're familiar with. If you're not familiar with it, we'll try to break it down. It's okay. So what has happened, we had people who were operating, who were supposed to be working with our money. They work with it. Working with our money, who were not able to balance the account. When we were asking questions, some of us, in the committee of the whole meetings and in council meetings, some of us were being vilified, and that means we were being cast as villains and bad people because we were asking questions about our money, questions about who gets to sign contracts and make contracts. We heard from the community members that our manager had signed an $800,000 contract for a comprehensive plan that he never presented to city council. And we talked about it. We brought it up. And there was no support until we went into closed session. And then the majority of us, because it takes, let's go back to simple math. How many city council members are there?
Is that 7?
A majority is what?
4.
That's 3 plus 1 equals 4. It takes 4 people to make something happen. 1 person can't do it. 2 people can't do it. 3 people can't do it. It takes 4. The only time the mayor votes is when there is a tie. The mayor can influence, but he cannot vote, or she cannot vote. Now, the word expenditure, explain that, because that's a big fancy word.
Yeah, and I'll do a better job of breaking it down. So that's the money that we spend in simple terms. Our expenditure is the things that we buy, the deals that we get into as far as purchasing, expenditure, that kind of sums that up. And revenue is the money that we have coming in. So just like your personal expenses, you want to have more money coming in than you have going out.
That's right.
And so when people talk about a deficit, that would mean that we have more going out than we have coming in. Now, we are not at a deficit yet, but we were headed that way. And so we have lost a lot of money. And I don't want to say lost because it's going, somewhere it's been spent. But the fact that we have to basically cut back on our spending habits and try to recruit that. And that's why it's not going to be an overnight fix, because you can't get $100 million in 1 year or 2 years. It's going to take some difficult decisions. It's going to take some time. But I am confident that through working together, we can get there. But that's just the hard truth, reality. So a total across all accounts, you see the same type of thing. This is our other account. So as a city, we have basically 3 general accounts. We have the one for the water, we have the one for the electric, and we have the one for the general government. So across all accounts, right now, we have about $44 million in fiscal year 2024. So as of today, as of September 29th, let's talk about cash, because we threw out some fancy words. Everybody understands cash, correct? We got $20 million approximately as of today. And keep in mind, I told you all when we first started that $8 million of that 20 is restricted because we cannot use it. So technically, we only got about $12 million cash.
Well, the LGC requires.
I would say requires that the practice is just about 8%. The city has a policy that we try to keep 10% of fund balance because, throughout the year, you're going to have a fluctuation. Tax bills just came out. Not everybody pays during that first couple of months, but typically we start getting the majority of our funding through November, December, and then I think the deadline is January. So we know throughout the year you have ups and downs, but for the last several years, we've had $100 million, so it didn't matter if we had an up or down because we could afford to cover those expenses. But we're at a point now where we cannot do that because we only got basically 1 month or so, a month and a half worth for payroll. Give you a prime example. In order to pay the current members of our staff, right now we have about 922. It takes us about $8.2 million per month. That's just to pay everyone. So you all do that math. We got $8 million per month, and we got about $12 million left. So that's why we have to take drastic measures to make sure that we can continue to stay afloat. Because if we don't take drastic measures, we will be in the deficit.
Can I make a comment? That was said in the public square again during our budget session. when the manager brought us information. Now, I just want to back up. Ruth is correct. It takes 4 votes. And it was not until our budget session is when the mayor realized that something wasn't right. And Councilmember Tom Harris. And Councilmember Tom Harris always asked about expenditures and things dealing with finance, because he always talk about his experience at the bank. But we did not get a 4th vote or support until about the end of the budget session, which it took 4 votes to make a change. I do want to say that same statement that our city manager just stated. I have no permanent friends, enemies, just an interest. And I had a conversation with Robbie Davis from Nash County Commissioner. And he said, Andre, we were discussing it, and we both said we had about a month and a half of savings in our account. And I said that because we were trying to balance our budget revenue neutral. When the county did their reevaluation, that's the county function, where they come out and reevaluate your property. The reevaluation, your property value went up. And so our tax rate would have passed the budget. It would have been the same. But the manager brought us a budget on revenue neutral. Am I clear? On revenue neutral. That means it lowered our rate. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And so I said, nowhere in the state, I think it was maybe Cary or Wilmington, I don't know which city, no one was balancing their budget on revenue neutral. And so we went through that long conversation. And so that's when Councilmember Harris voted against the budget because he wanted revenue neutral. And so we could cut. And those were programs that we had helping our citizens with our housing repair, grants for businesses that downtown and et cetera. So we really hurt ourselves when we lowered our tax rate. Am I correct? I think we lost about, what, 5 million?
I don't have those calculations in front of me, but I will say it's factual that by lowering the tax rate, we did reduce the money that we have coming in, and I think it was in the tune of 4 to 5 million. So I do think that's correct. I just don't have that prepared in front of me today.
So I just want to let you know that it was that whole conversation was held in the public.
And I also want to say too, thank you, Councilman Knight. I want to say as well that people came here when Elton first was appointed. They came to City Council and they told us, do not increase the tax rate because taxes are increasing everywhere.
Right.
And that's true. But some of these same folk voted for this economy that we're in. The entire economy is inflated. And they wanted us to cut our budget, eliminate small expenditures, which were programs geared towards seniors, towards poor people who were living in inadequate housing,
Right.
to not have affordable housing downtown because we were told repeatedly by the Rogers administration that downtown was for wealthy people.
Well,
It was stated openly and in neighborhood meetings. And we said in Rocky Mount, downtown is for everyone. We need wealthy people, we need middle income people, and we need poor people because everybody helps build this budget.
right.
And our other concern was that while our neighboring counties, which are our contributing counties, because Rocky Mount sits in Nash and Edgecombe, isn't that correct? And those of us who live in Rocky Mount, we pay a high premium, don't we? It is a both and. It is a both and. But guess what? You expect more too.
Right.
And if you're a citizen in Rocky Mount, you get premium service whether you recognize it or not. And so we have endeavored to work with what we have, ensure that a reasonable portion of our budget is targeted to lower income households, and keep infrastructure investment at a level where businesses outside the city core could prosper.
All right now.
And Rocky Mount has grown. People love to create these talking points about who we are. But let me tell you, Rocky Mount creates tax base for 70% of Edgecombe and Nash counties. We might be the 15th largest city in the state, but we also have one of the poorest per capita percentage of individuals who live below the poverty level.
Right.
We have the highest health disparities, and we don't need to cut back those things which strengthen us and move us forward.
Right.
So we got to have a robust budget, and we got to generate it ourselves. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
I do want to make a point here that I believe, this is my belief, when we was asking for information during the budget session, that we were not giving good information. And I think if we had the adequate information, the conversation would have been different, I believe, about revenue neutral. I think that the manager was trying to make sure that he kept a fourth majority vote and tried to give council members what they asked for, and it hurt us. And so I think if those numbers came in of what our financial state really were, that it would have been impossible to have a revenue neutral budget. I just want to say that. And I lost my train of thought, but that's what I want to say.
And what we can also say is that when we continue to press with the hard questions, when we decided that we were going to press for truth and not just get along with everybody,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
let that settle in. When we ask for truth,
That's right.
Right. Truth sets you free.
then we started getting interest and support specifically from Tom Harris. Specifically. And Mr. Harris started asking the questions. The mayor started asking questions. It just was late. It was late.
And we could not have made the change with the three of us sitting here. And so we were thankful that Councilmember Tom Harris joined in with us and said it was time for new management, because it's not 1, 2, 3. It takes 4 votes. So I do want to acknowledge that.
And at the end of the day, it was 6 who voted to terminate.
And I got to say this, and then turn to Elton. I want to say that I see Miss Cole, Sue Perry Cole. It was a group of them that came just about every council meeting. You can pull the minutes, this public record, of all the discussion from housing, budgeting, whatever was going on in the city. It was a group, Dr. Kim Koo, Montez, Camilla's, I want to get into names, late Robert Davis, Virginia, she's sitting there too. It's really a group that was persistent and who have come on a regular basis. And so now I don't think they're surprised, but they hear those conversations. So that's why it's important to have community involvement, not just when it's a crisis or something that's like this, but to be involved. What was your opinion?
Thank you. This is my last slide, and then, council, members of the public, have questions. We'll do our best to address those. But the main number that I want you all to pay attention on this slide is our projections at the bottom. So at the top, we have where we currently stand. So in September, we got about 19 million. Those middle blue and grayish numbers, those numbers represent the money that we should have coming in. And then the red number represent the number that we'll have going out for paying payroll and all the projects that we currently have going on. So at the end of all of that, so for example, for the end of September, we think it will fall somewhere around 20 million. In October, it'll go down. October is an interesting month for us because we are an organization that has 26 pay periods. That means our employees get paid 26 times a year, and 2 times a year, employees get a third check in a month. And so October just happens to be that 1 month for this year that employees will get paid 3 times in a month. So that's why you see the drop off there. And November starts to get back up because we are starting to receive our tax revenue in December, January, and on in February. So we have a 6 months projection. What is not listed in the projection is the savings that I, along with my team, developed to the cost of about $30 million that we hope to save in the next 8 to 10 months. And that will be added to our bottom line. And so I think that's where a lot of the confusion happened online with regard to some of the reports that we saw in comments about the city having a $30 million deficit. That's not true. The reality is that cuts that we anticipate on the other cost-saving mechanisms should save the city $30 million this fiscal year. And as we go through our remaining of the year, we'll have to have budget discussions for the upcoming budget. Then we'll talk about other cost-saving mechanisms at that point in time. But we can't just focus on cutting things. We also have to talk about revenue. And that's just the honest truth.
So one of the things that part of what our goal was tonight was to clarify the data and the facts. If you come back Thursday night, it's Wednesday night, I think we have one scheduled for Wednesday night, and then one just got scheduled for Thursday at Ebenezer Baptist Church. So the one Wednesday night will be again here at City Hall, and there will be another one on Thursday at 6:30 at Ebenezer. So for those folk who lives in wards 5, 6, and 7, the same presentation will be here, and you're going to hear something different because it's different people. You understand? Everybody got their own perspective. I'm not speaking for nobody but myself, okay? I live in Ward 2, and I'm accountable to everyone, but I made my decisions based upon what was good for this ward and my perspective of what's good for the city. They do the same. In Ward 4, Councilman Walker is holding his at Ebenezer, and if you live in that ward or want to compare information or perspective, you can go there and ask them the same questions you're asking us tonight.
So as we come to this point in place, I definitely want to thank Ward 3 for the 6-year tenure that we've had. And definitely want to say that my efforts have been to build affordable homes and to make Ward 3 home ownership plentiful, and to take care of our seniors through affordable housing, community wealth building, and to make our community safe. Certainly, this in the journey, I'm not seeking re-election, but I'm not leaving Rocky Mount. I am still committed to supporting whoever will be the Ward 3 leader, and that we can keep the efforts going. I do want to say that it's been a real strength and joy to work with the entire city council. And even though that we have had our ups and downs, for the most part, the city council has stayed united. And these heated discussions that we have has been necessary for us to be where we are now with the right city manager, the right financial person in charge that brought these things to our attention, that we now as a city can unitedly move forward to make the necessary changes. I do want to say that Andre Rubin, our senior council person, someone asked a question, did anybody see this early on? And I would like to say that Councilman Knight did lift this up early on. But it took all of us some time to get united to begin to deal with it. I am not a argumentative person. I like to stick to facts and make decisions for the best of all of us. And when we got that decision, we made the tough decisions and we made a change in city manager. And we made a change in bringing in someone that could lead us. And you could see as soon as our city manager, Daniels, got on board, he found the proper people to put in place to now guide us to where we can become stronger again. So I want to thank you for being here tonight. And as we're going to have different meetings as council persons, do not take this that we are not united. We are united to do what's best for our city. And just want to thank you for this team. And thanks for the prayer. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we've collected most of the questions. If for some reason we missed you, just hold your hand up and people will see you and grab it at the back there.
I have a question. Why do we have to do this? Why can't we have the open discussion?
Because Ms. Koo, let me tell you why.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is get everybody's questions out so we won't be here to midnight tonight.
I don't want to stay until midnight.
Well, you're not going to, I'm just saying to you, we can't solve it tonight because number one, I'm going to just tell the honest truth. We're still investigating. And even with the information that was put up tonight, some of that still has to be vetted. We still don't have a full accounting team. We're beginning to build. Now, this is what we commit. I think I said it earlier tonight, that at city council meetings, we will continue to roll out information. We'll continue to roll out information. But if you want to get to the bottom of what's going on, it's going to take some time. Everything isn't going to be resolved quickly. It took 1.5 years, and you were one of the main ones coming down here asking questions. So I'm not fighting with you. I'm just saying to you tonight that what we'd like to try to do is get as many people's issues addressed so that we can get good information out. And then you all are also going to give us direction that you want to see taken, right?
Right.
So I'm saying this is not the end. This is just the beginning. I commit that to you.
Committed.
Have
there been a crime committed?
A crime committed? Well, let me explain something to you, sir. We're here to talk about the budget. No, we're here to talk about the budget. This is a town hall meeting about the budget. And that, again, is why we're asking you to put your question or your comment here. And then we can convene other conversations specifically around subject areas.
Okay.
That we do open up. That we do open up.
Go
on with me.
Wait a minute. I heard that we're supposed to pay $20 or $30 extra every month.
That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened.
Okay. I want to be sure.
Yes, ma'am.
All of us and we don't want to see that increase. Doesn't be all that.
I get you.
Okay, everyone. Can you proceed?
Yes. All right, so we'll get started. One question we have, and maybe you can quickly dispel, is why are the other 4 council members not here?
Well, number one, we have something called an open meetings law. And whenever you have if you have a majority, then it has to be you have to publicize it. We got rules, regulations. It turns to a formal meeting. So this gives us all an opportunity to speak with or to work with whoever we work with. The three of us work together on a regular, and our wards have consistent makeups. Wards 1, 2, and 3 look alike as far as the issues, the situations that we deal with. We have similarities in demographics. And so the things that matter in Ward 3 matter in Ward 2, matter in Ward 1. That's not necessarily the same with Ward 7, 6, and 5. But you hear from them, and it's okay. You'll hear from them in 2 days, and they'll tell you what they think and why they made the decisions that they made. You know? So you give a full opportunity. And then at city council meeting, we're all together. And you can say anything you want to say to all of us.
One question that is up here quite a few times is what programs or services do you know will be cut at this time or ones that will not be cut?
Well, I'm going to shift over to the manager.
We are currently evaluating those. I wouldn't say any programs necessarily, other than some of the city grant programs that we have that are not federally funded, because obviously we don't have the cash to continue to offer the city grants. But we're more so looking at vacancies in personnel. So positions that we currently have that we don't have warm bodies in, those are the start. And then we'll work at high-performing employees and low-performing employees. We'll look at the ones that are low-performing. And typically when you have a reduction of force, it's the last ones to come on board are typically the first ones to go. However, if you're a high-performing employee, we want to do our best to keep you. And there'll be a number of things, but we don't have the answer to all that yet. We're still reevaluating, but that's the start.
Can I say this too?
Sure.
What I do want to go back in time, because, you know, we get hit a lot about, well, why don't you tear the houses down? They're dilapidated. You can clearly see they are. Well, while our expenditures were dramatically increasing in 2023 and 2024, you know what did not dramatically increase? That was investment in the poorest communities. We did almost no demolitions, and there was a lot of fights we had up here with our manager. So nobody can say we spent all this grant money from our budget and put it into individual people's homes. Because at the time when the budget went down the most, the least investment came back to the people who needed it the most. And that was the smallest percentage of expenditures in our budget. Our capital expenditures dramatically increased. Contracts dramatically increased. In fact, our community development director was sent packing from City Hall and sent to the Imperial Center and put in a room with no telephone and barely a desk and a chair. Unity Cemetery was completely unraveled, and he sat here and said, for the $1 million that we had allocated to honor our dead that had been disrespected for over 100 years, he said, I think there's mismanagement in that program. Well, it wasn't mismanagement in that program. Go ahead.
Well, the true matter of fact, the truth about it, the direction was given to the manager. If you follow the minutes, read the minutes, and if you go back and look at council meetings, a certain council member kept saying that we are doing too much grants into housing. And so when this new manager came, his job was to dismantle community development. And that's when we fought like Dickens to save Miss McGee, who has been disrespected, and move into the Black Box Theater and her staff, and gave busy work. And what he said, sitting right up here, that they're on a special assignment and that they will be back in 6 months, but hired someone else at $120,000 that was acting in her role. And so, Ruben is correct, but the direction was given by, I believe, a council member that your job is to do this. So that's why that manager had the power to disregard us, withhold information, and say, I'll get you a full report. That's the truth of the matter. Go back, like Camilla said, and look at the videos. Thank you.
But as soon as we changed managers, Ms. McGee and her staff were put back in place.
That's
To
correct.
do the work that they were doing.
So essentially what is allocated from the federal government, so this is very important for you to be able to hear. What's allocated from the federal government for housing programs and community development programs will continue because it's federal government allocation. Those funds will continue. But can you put that screen back on fund balance? But we were funding major incentive grants for downtown businesses. We were funding additional dollars to urgent home repair and to matching repair grants. We were allocating additional dollars from fund balance that was created. And we raise our money in Rocky Mount from taxes as well as utilities and fees. We got to talk about utilities, though, because utilities is a major way that we fund this government. We've had major fights in the city. We've had inflated rates for years, and then when our rates went lower, they didn't feel like it because we're normalized to be traumatized in our utility bills. And that's correct. So even though the bills were lower than some of our neighbors, we're conditioned to automatically think that they're higher. And what we got to recognize is that utilities is a long time issue. And I hear so many people coming in with, so many great ideas, and it ain't going to pass the muster legally, and it won't pass the muster operationally, and it won't pass the muster fiscally.
Can I show the one?
Go ahead.
I just want to talk about utilities, but it's my passion. And during the time that we came on the council, and I'll address that too, when I came on the council, we was in this huge debt that the debt would not, we would satisfy the debt in 2026.
$500 million.
And I remember the late Fred Turner saying, it's too complicated. We'll never understand it. They had a lot of stockholders. And so, make a long story short, we really advocated for lower utilities. And that's when Rocky Mount joined with Newman to sue Duke. And then that's when it came back to NICEPA, the other 32 cities, and I think we got a better deal. And since 2015, we have not had a rate increase for gas. And since 2017, we have not had a rate increase for electric. What we did with the money that we made from electric, we started a rate stabilization fund. So anytime the wholesale rate would go up, we would take the burden of that cost from our rate stabilization fund. So we would have to pass that on to our citizens. And so part of the plan that our manager said when it look at cutting jobs, a possibility, because we haven't voted on it, a slight increase in utilities and gas. Am I correct?
Yeah, I really don't know if I could add any. You kind of covered everything for the rate. What I will say is that the proposed adjustment for the electric side is like, I think, 1/8 of a cent. That's what we're looking at on the electric side. On the gas amount, it's not necessarily a change in the rate. It's just a change in what a purchase. The technical term is a purchase gas adjustment. But it will equate to about a $20 increase for certain homes, and it just varies based on your usage. And so when we get into the budget season, we will look at possible rate adjustment. But what you stated was accurate, is that the city hadn't adjusted the electric rates, I believe, since 2017, and the cost for electric has gone up, but the city council had made the decision to subsidize that. So basically not pass that cost on to the citizens. Same thing with the gas. Gas has continued to fluctuate, but we had increased our rates on gas for the last 10 years, since 2015. And so if you go look at just your regular gas station, not your natural gas, but if you go to the gas station, there's probably not a week that gas number does not change. You go to one station, it's $1 one week, and the next week it's 2 or 3. And so, but the city has not changed our natural gas rate for 10 years. So we really need to look at a cost allocation across all of our utilities to just see what we should charge. But, people don't want to see huge increases, but what we want to look at is like incremental change, just to keep up with how much we're purchasing for. Because the reality is, for the last several years, the utilities have been operating at a loss. So if it was a business, we would be out of business. But because we had money that we could transfer in our savings account, which we don't have anymore, we were able to not pass that on. But there will be adjustments in the future.
So a couple of things I just want you to get. Okay, number one, we own our utilities, but we don't generate them here. Okay, I want you to understand that. We own the business, but we don't make the power. The electrical power is made by Duke Energy. Sharon Harris, y'all know where that is? In my hometown in Roxborough, Person County, on Hyco Lake and on, I forget the name, Mayo Lake, there are 2 coal burning plants in my hometown. They got coal ash. That's why I live in Rocky Mountain. It messed up the whole environment there. But we own a percentage of that business. And so through this collaborative effort with NICMPA and North Carolina Eastern Municipal Power Agency, which is also part of Electricity, which spans the East and the West, we purchase electricity wholesale. We were the only city, thanks to Councilman Andre Knight, who created the rate stabilization plan. We did that with Councilwoman Angela Bride, Lamont Wiggins, Andre Knight, Reuben Blackwell. And we did it with revenues that came back from the settled lawsuit, which people told us it's so hard to get along. That's why you can't get along with everything. You got to follow the money. And we were able to subsidize the cost of operations for years. So it's not that the cost of running the business didn't go up. It went up just like the market went up. We didn't pass the cost on to our users because we didn't want to break your bank. We had done that long enough. So now, go back and look. That's cash balance, 20 million minus
20 million minus approximately 8.
Minus 8. What's that leave?
Well,
Y'all count. What's our payroll every month?
1
Do y'all see what we said? And so you have cash flow and then you have cash balance. Cash flow in this city comes from the sale of gas, the sale of electric, the sale of water, the sale of storm water, and the sale of sewer, right?
Correct.
That comes every month because it's all bundled on your utility bill. Taxes get billed in September. When y'all pay your taxes, tell the truth. I said, when you get the money.
I do want to make I do want to be frank and honest. We have been challenged by Councilmember Liza Daughtry about passing the cost on to our customers. And it was very hard for us because we were in the heat of the battle where we had those exorbitant rates. And we had this story, who's going to fight the big giant in the Kemper was on Weed radio show and all that, where we had that huge fight about utilities. And so Ruben mentioned about our citizens being traumatized because they were very high. And when the textile industry left, the burden was really put on the citizens. And so that's why we fought, the two of us, until Councilman Jordan came, to try not to pass that cost on, to give the people a chance to break. Because at one point it was extremely high. And so I think we are always in that mode when you mentioned about utility increase, just like Dr. Cool, why we are. That's why we try to not pass that on. Now, I don't know if it hurt us or not, but we was trying to do what we're willing to be. So.
There was one comment about programming that I didn't get a chance to address. So the programming, for the most part, the outside programs, like we have programs for the youth, baseball, football, all the Parks and Rec program, that we have programs at the senior center. Right now, they are not cut. So I know there's a lot of misinformation about the programs for the youth being cut. As far the things that I have seen thus far does not cut those programs because we think they are essential. People don't come to Rocky Mount just to come to the council. They want to have the things that they do as far as the quality of life. And as far as we're concerned, I mean, those departments as a whole will be cut with some of the personnel, some of the things, but the programs that we're offering, what it boils down is that the people that we have remaining just going to have to do more because we're going to still try to offer those programs.
But Elton, Manager Daniels, we did discuss not being able to fund new contracts with nonprofits. We can honor what we're doing existing. It might take a little time to get there. You understand? We might not be able to do all the things that we were doing before with neighborhoods and with some of the special efforts and events that were working through third-party entities. But Parks and Rec is going to still be Parks and Rec. You know, we don't want to go so drastic that we have trash pickup once a month, right?
Okay.
We need our trash pickup every week.
No, and leaf season is starting too. So
That's right.
The services that you all will receive will continue. It just may be different ways that they're received. So we might have one example is that instead of having all of our city employees doing leaf pickup or trash pickup, we may have some outside parties assisting us with that, like temporary services, but it'll still be the city of Rocky Mount. And also, with regard to some of the service contracts that we currently have as a city operation, even though you may have a contract with the city, we will be evaluating those current contracts to focus on just the essential services. So we may be reducing some of those contracts that we're not locked in for 2 to 3 years, just because we're trying to leave no stone unturned. We're trying to make sure that we find all of the savings that we can possibly. So that goes with all of our service contracts. all the things here in City Hall, all the things at our Public Works facility, all the things at the Imperial Center, all the things at the Event Center. We're going to be looking at all of our service contracts and trying to reduce and find savings, but the programs themselves, we want to do the best that we can to try to keep those.
And let's remember the event center makes money.
Yes.
Okay. And tenant 101 in business. And if any of you in business, and I know many of you are, and your house is your business, your home is your business. You know, you can't cut out all your quality of life. You cannot do it. What I did want to talk about a little bit is gas. You know, because we have less control, don't we, over the gas market.
Yeah, well, we don't have any control over the gas market. It is what it is. But the purchase the purchase agreement we'll look for our wholesale costs, and it's different. I don't want to give round numbers because it will impact residential and commercial and our heavy industrial different ways. But on average, to the typical residential home, it will probably be an additional $20 for this period. And it fluctuates. If we have a mild winter, then you might not see that. This is just an average. But you know how North Carolina winters and summers are, it's all different now. But on average, what we anticipated being about $20 difference on it.
Okay. So real quick one, someone asked, what does LGC stand for and when does our fiscal years begin and end?
Okay, so the LGC stands for Local Government Commission, and the Local Government Commission is the oversight committee that oversees all of North Carolina local governments when it comes to debt services. So we can't go finance major purchases without getting LGC approval. And luckily, the LGC deputy director, who was over fiscal management, is sitting right next beside me. So we have very good relationship with them. We already had several meetings with the local government commission, and they are assisting us through this transition. But that's what it stands for, local government commission. And before we go take on debt, like if we were to go buy or build another fire station, we just completed Fire Station 2. In order for us to build that Fire Station 2, we had to get LGC approval for that purchases because they manage they manage the debt throughout the state for all cities and counties in North Carolina. Now, our fiscal year, when does that begin and end? So for North Carolina local governments, the fiscal year begins on July 1, and the fiscal year ends on June 30th. So you'll hear us talk about our budget development process, which under my administration will start earlier. So we should start having those conversations in early January. Those meetings will be open to the public. And then by law, we're required to have an adopted budget by the close of the fiscal year. So by June 30th, we have to have an adopted budget. And we cannot operate in a deficit. That budget has to be balanced. We can't operate like our federal friends. Our federal friends can have, a huge deficit. North Carolina, we are not allowed to do that. And the LGC, a lot of people look at the LGC as a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it prevents us from getting into bad situations. The problem that the city has had over time is that we didn't turn in our paperwork until 8 months late. If we had to turn in our paperwork in time, we would have got notified that, hey, something is wrong. But luckily, we can't point fingers at this point. Well, staff is not. We're just going to address it where we are and try to get better. But again, our fiscal year starts on July 1 and ends on June 30th, and Local Government Commission is what the LGC stands for.
So I just want you to know, I've been here since 2000. We've never had a late audit.
Say it again.
I've been here since 2000. I got sworn in November 99. December meeting is a brief meeting. I really got to work in January 2000.
How many years?
That's 25 years. We have never had, ever.
And I've been here 21, 22. But the word on the street, we need to go. But we know how to hold it in the middle of the road and never seen anything like this in our history. Because we know how local government is supposed to operate. And that's why we challenge those in those positions in authority, supposed to be fiduciary of your money, taxpayer dollars, and we challenge them, those people in the public square.
I think one question that's a theme, and by the way, they say good evening, council members. Just want to make sure the politeness with our group. What is being asked, the theme is how do we look out for this in the future? How do we protect ourselves moving forward. And one thing I keep hearing is years of service. Our members over here, our members here, what do we see as a board up here, how to prevent this from the future? What is it?
I'll speak from the staff member perspective, and then let Katrina speak from your own perspective. My goal, number one, is to hire competent, experienced staff. That's my number one goal. You know, a lot of people look at me as a city manager, but I can't possibly handle everything that goes on in the city. But the team, as a team, we can. As a citizen, we can. We work together. And so my number one goal is to make sure that we have staff that can do the job. If they need tools, make sure they have the tools that they need to be successful, and also make sure they continue to have the necessary training. Because once you get here, you can't just go based on the information that you had in the past. Technology changed. Right now, you hear a lot of people talk about the use of artificial intelligence. That's just something that's coming. So we got to have staff that's trained on that. Some people have certification that they have to maintain. I know for a fact, if you have a building that you're building and, you might have, a bootleg person doing some stuff, but when you deal with your electricity, you want somebody that's certified in that. You don't want your stuff to burn up or catch a fire. Same thing with your water and sewer. You want somebody that's certified to handle those things. So those are the things that I look at as a manager, making sure that we have qualified staff and making sure that those staff have the tools that they need to be successful. My job as manager is just managing everything, but they're the ones that have the talent. My talent is making sure that we get there, and making sure that they have the tools and supporting where I can. That's what I look at from a staffing standpoint.
And from the citizens, you got to demand accountability from the people you elect. This is not a beauty contest, and it's not a popularity contest. Make sure the people you elect have vision, and ask what the vision is. And they should be able to learn the business of the city. This is a very complex business. And you can't sleep in committee of the whole meetings, miss meetings, and not ask questions and think you can manage and hold staff accountable. It doesn't happen that way. None of us balance a checkbook for the city. None of us can write a check from the city because we don't touch that money. You won't find that. You won't find any council member who has the ability to get into the cash. It's amazing what people think. To me, I don't even understand. So you got to stop the stuff that don't even make no sense.
And you left out one. Make sure they have a backbone.
Right.
To stand. And to stand scrutiny. A lot of things are going out over social media, but they have to be able to not be afraid, unboss and unboss.
That's right. And we too have to unite to hold our city manager accountable for the management of our city. And when that is not happening, we have to be honest and above board and make the necessary changes when it's needed. And that we do not do the day-to-day management, but we do manage the persons that do that. And then we do have to be honest to you, our constituents, on how things are going. And you have to hold us accountable in our community ward meetings. Please come to those meetings. And because that is one way that you too can get information.
Just want to acknowledge these questions also are from downstairs, so just make sure the people downstairs know that we're getting them. The quick answer is who hires the city manager. The reminder is the council, city council does. We kind of addressed that. Kind of a history lesson. There's a reference to other police departments much larger than ours, having starting salary lower. Is there a little bit of history we need to remind them how to vacancy?
Yes, okay. There is. Yes, there is. Because that's when the telltale signs started. So y'all need to understand this. This gentleman's qualifications were questioned in closed session from the very beginning. From the very beginning, they were questioned.
Well, that was the guy who ran out and said what they had to say.
Right.
And I said it, and I said it again. Right. They ran out and said whatever they wanted to say.
He's gotten a lot of money from here.
$800,000.
Okay, so
Don't blame me.
Right.
So anyway, that gentleman's qualifications were questioned. And you have to ask for other people why they support it. We all voted, and I think that was stated by Richard earlier, even though it was a split vote in committee of the whole, closed session. When we came out of closed session, we said, no matter what we feel, everybody should have the opportunity to have the support of the whole when we come out. Because we know from experience the job is hard enough. So we had a unanimous vote to bring the young man in. But that doesn't mean you get a pass on not doing your job. And he said publicly he was not going to do anything for 100 days. And I'm repeating what was in the newspaper. He said, I was going to listen for 100 days. And in 3 weeks, we all got phone calls, individual phone calls, saying, I want to increase the police, the entry-level police department budget from, it was 40 something?
I don't remember the exact, I know that the new minimum was $60,000.
But that was almost a 30% increase.
It was a 36% increase.
36.
And can I chime a little bit? You know, we have had some very heated debates right here in this chamber. People saying, we are tired, y'all divided, you're fussing, you're not getting along. And so we decided, even though that was not our person, that we would try to unify the city for the people and not have a city manager to come in here and we're divided. Long after he got here, I couldn't take it no more and did what I had to do. It was, you know, when a manager stand in front of their leadership team and say, I'm not here for a long time, I'm here for a good time. That's a red flag. And the 36% increase was discussed here openly when the police department filled this gallery. And then the next council meeting, the firefighters filled the gallery. So then it was a 27% increase negotiated. So when the sanitation and the public works and parks and rec came, they said we made it political. That we made it political. And it was about politics. And as long as that young man was made an example, I believe, because it was stated. And we fought and fought. And the late Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Walker said, when the city manager don't come to work, nobody knows. But when the sanitation workers don't come to work, everybody knows. I said it in his honor. And so we, you know, and some of these citizens and people in this room made it political. And said that we was making it political. It was a political stunt. And we was fighting for the least of those. And then that's when the comp pay plan came. And we did not get that information.
And so I want to be clear too. The base rate for entry level officers and firefighters increased, but it didn't do anything for the middle managers, for the senior level administrators, everybody, the officers who had been there for years, and all of a sudden, you've been working for 10 years, and somebody walk in the door, make the same thing you make, And so then in the police department, some of our seasoned leaders started leaving because they felt disrespected. And the manager told us, we got money. We got plenty of money. We did not have plenty of money. He used one-time money from ARC, from the COVID settlement that every federal government got to pay for the first year. What happens in year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Right. That's why you see that part of that. Won't the only reason. That's because you said that it didn't totally impact, but that's part of the reason that it contributed to the decline in the cash.
And someone brought up in social media, we all supported, we supported our police officers. And we said, yes, they deserve an increase. But no council anywhere, of my knowledge, and in the history that I've been on the council, North Carolina, have ever did a 36% increase. And we knew, like, how can we sustain this? And so, we support all our employees. And so we went on record, yeah, we support it. They said, well, if you get under 36, you need to get everybody else 36.
And let me say that we, and our united vote for our former city manager, we did make some provision that we were hoping that would help him to come into that management by asking a former assistant city manager to work with him and asked him could he be with him 6 months to a year, and he agreed to do so. We asked him, would you allow this senior person, say his name, we asked Mr. Peter Barney that has been with us, will you allow him to work with you to help you in some of the things that you may not know? And Mr. Barney agreed. I think he was here for how long afterwards?
2 minutes.
In 2 weeks.
It was weeks.
Weeks, Mr. Barney was.
He was moved out of the office.
He was moved out of the office into a room full of boxes.
Yes. And so this time around, we asked the same question of our city manager Daniels to allow Mr. Barney to help in this process. And Mr. Barney is still here helping out because of his wisdom, his longevity, and his knowledge of how this city operates is critically important as we move forward. As anyone that go on a new job, and there's someone there with senior authority, with knowledge, that know how to do it, you know how it's important to listen to wisdom.
Right.
And when you dismiss wisdom, you dismiss your own future.
There's been a theme through some of these of basically supporting, like, what can we do to raise money? I'm not saying there was car wash ideas, but what can you do to drive? And one of them that we spoke to a term called ad valorem tax. Can we implement one mid-year or whatever to rebuild some of our savings and revenues or something, anything we can do?
No, so local governments are limited on the forms of revenue that we can receive. Sometimes, you can receive large donations from billionaires, millionaires. That's few and far between. The reality is we have our taxes, our property taxes, our utility rates, and our user fees. Those are the main fees that we have. And then we can also get debt, but the issue with that is you have to have a good fund balance in order to go out and get that. So right now we're just limited to our fees for our services, our taxes, and our utility rates.
So what we have to do, we just this is not going to be a forever journey. Let me just say this. It's not going to be forever. We got to do what we got to do for a period of time to start to replenish. We'll stage and phase programs as we can, We will do our best to incent businesses as we can, and we'll build back as we can. It's going to take all of us working together. Now, I can tell you this, even though we vehemently disagree on the front end of this, we are working hard to come up with a plan that everybody can buy into and work together on. So that's where we are today. But we have to clear up how we got to today, because I've heard dissonance about who's responsible. Who is responsible is the city council. It's our responsibility to manage our business, to hire competent individuals who have the qualifications, the education, and the experience to get the job done. And then that person and her or her senior team have to be able to work with all of us. That's right. You got to work with 8 people up here, and we expect them to work with you out there too.
I just want to make one point too. And some of this, you can agree or disagree. But some in the public square help solidify making some of the things a political difference. And what I mean, we are the senior council members, and I think some may have followed some of those social media things against the two of us, because we have served our constituents for 25 years. Ruben is very vocal, and I'm very vocal. Rich is very vocal. But it don't make us a bad person. And I think that some of this stuff was being contrived by these hateful people on these blogs and stuff that was adamant and said that we were calling division. But the only thing we were doing was speaking truth to power and integrity. Right. Yeah. And calling out what we knew was not policy, was not following city ordinance. Right. And so I just want to say that.
So just wanted to spell, we've mentioned it, but this is a question. It states basically, how did we go without a finance director for 70 years? But that's, as we've heard, we had a finance director that was possibly not qualified at the level.
That was not qualified.
Gotcha.
So possibly.
So we had one.
Yes.
Well, I'll speak to the staffing stuff. So we had a finance director who did not have the credentials that the current one has. And during that time, we also had an interim finance director who had actually served in interim in 2 occasions for a total of, I think, almost over 2 years. And so that individual is no longer with the city as of today, but that's the result of, not having qualified people in the positions.
So we were never not staffed. We just, as your point.
We had staffing. We had people in the position, just, in my opinion, just not qualified people in those positions.
And one thing that has kind of resonated is there's this misnomer that we have tons of people out there that owe us taxes. But can you speak to actually our tax,
Correct. Yeah. As it stands now, in North Carolina, for the average city or town or county, the collection rate on a good collection is about 95 to 98%. Maybe a little lower, maybe a little less. The city of Rocky Mount for the past several years has always been in that range. Most of the time, we've been on the upper range of that. So the city is collecting taxes. No city or county in the state is collecting 100%. It's just the reality of things. But we have mechanisms in place in which we do stay in that top tier percentage, anywhere from, I'll say on a lower year, 94, but on the higher end, somewhere around 98, 98.5.
Can you speak real quick, just to remind people we don't have a consistent monthly revenue, as you spoke to, the taxes kind of ebb and flow. Can you speak to, someone asked, what is our monthly revenue?
So on average, I have a slide that kind of addressed that for the next. So the revenue for the next 6 months, we estimate to be around, on the low end, from 21 to, on the high end, $26 million per month. So, but after our taxes come in, the only revenue that we'll see will be coming from our utility and our services and fees. And we get our tax revenue starting in September up until January, which is the deadline. I think it's January 5th or January 6th, one of those days. That's the deadline. And then we'll have a little bit more trickle in after that. But throughout the rest of the months, we have people who come in and sales tax that comes in, as well as our other services and fees.
Grants, talk about where grants come in, and what percentage do grants make up?
I don't know, Cheryl, can you speak to the grant percentage?
I can't speak specifically to the grant percentage, but it's in that, $5.3 million of other. And grants vary, month by month, because almost all of them are reimbursement based, meaning that we have to spend up front and then request the reimbursement. So it's not easy.
Some of them require matches as well.
And some of them do require city match as well. Yes.
I think we're getting near the end. Most of them are really specific programming that we can follow up with in kind of our FAQs that we're going to come through. I think this one's a synopsis of some of the languages. If you just knew that we were going to be short on budget back when we were approving the 2025, why don't you make cuts then? But I think, as we said, the clarity, the optics just weren't there. Do we want to wrap? Yeah, go ahead.
We did make cuts during that budget, and we will probably be presenting a revised budget now that we know where our cash balance is now. So that's one of the things that Cheryl and I will be working over the next couple of weeks, on top of looking at trying to complete our audit, making sure that we get that on time. But local governments have the opportunity to present a revised budget, and that's what we will do. And so during our budget, there was conversation about the revenue on the tax. I think the council went back and forth over how much the tax increase should be over the service fee, even though people didn't want to do it. You knew it was necessary because you knew that our expenditure was down. And so that's why when I became manager, I came in at the tail end of that budget process, being hired in April. But one of my discussions, essentially, if you pull up the YouTube video, I was talking about our fund balance at that point, saying that we had already dropped below the kind of the requirement for the state, because they kind of look at, as well as the city's policy, which is 10%. So those things were notified. Now, we didn't have a certified finance director during that time, so I personally didn't have access to the cash account. But as soon as I found out what the cash account was, is when I called council in and told them our situation, so we have to take immediate action. So to answer your question, we did make cuts. We didn't do everything that we wanted to do during that budget process. But moving forward, we will have budget discussions earlier. The audit will be turned in on time, and we'll be able to make better, sound fiscal decisions.
And one tough question, which has been on, and I'll phrase it hopefully the correct way, is at this time we don't not see any misappropriation or anything illegal. But what if you go ahead?
We don't know that.
Right.
Okay, we don't know that. When you have such a slide in such a short period of time, with so much money, when you don't have accounts that are being balanced on a regular basis, when you have this kind of upheaval in anybody's business, you cannot discount the possibility. So what we discussed in closed session among ourselves, and I think we've even came out publicly to state that what our full intention is, once we get past the audit that is required to ensure that we're running a sound fiscal business, that we are seeking a forensic auditor to come in and look for anything that could possibly be illegal. Because you got to. It's not a little bit of money we're talking. It's a lot of money. And we're still trying to get to the bottom of it. But you can't just surmise. And we've been very public tonight in telling you what happened, telling you what we thought, what we did, what we said, and telling you and showing you data that corroborates that. But I can't say somebody stole money. What I can say is that contracts were given without proper protocol and authority coming through the city council. I can say that. I can't say it's graft. I can say that it's poor management. And there's a difference between mismanagement and theft.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah.
And I want to say too, someone was blaming it on the previous administration with, Rochelle Small Tony. And you can clearly see the slides. And during her tenure, and, you know, I'm not afraid to speak about it, we had a visit by the auditor, and I was in the hot seat, and I think I'll forever be in the hot seat. And I denied it then, and I'm doing the same here. So it was no embezzlement or anything during the time that auditor was here, far as management or staff taking money. So I just want to.
And I think that while you let's lean in that just for a moment.
Well, I can't.
I'll lean in for you.
I just want to say this. That I'm a native of Rocky Mountain. Graduated from senior high, make it quick. Went to North Carolina Central. Came back home. Wanted to give back to my community. Bought the old Henry Gregory house on Falls Road. The house sold for $250,000. I was able to get it financed through some high mortgage company, interest fees. And I was roadblocked through the council at that time, when it was, majority was, during that time, and was given hell during that time. I have a video of Reverend Burston and others meeting at Falls Road fighting for the adult daycare on Falls Road. And ever since I've been here, I've had to bear that burden of public opinion about that property. And then I became the NAACP president, which I was very vocal. And then when the Honorable Helen Gay retired, I ran for her seat and became vocal. And I'm just going to say this. I don't know any man, especially a black man, can walk around anywhere for 20 years and don't pay no utility bills. Every time, and I was in the heat of the battle with Mother Thornton praying outside of City Hall about utility bills, with Angela Bryant doing town hall meetings, and fought at the Kemper meeting for the citizens of Rocky Mountain, along with Dorothy Cook, Lewis Turner. And if I would have had something of that knowledge, I would be doing a protest myself right here in this gallery. And ask yourself, if somebody go back 20 years for anything that you done and try to prove something, you would have a problem with that too. And the last thing I want to say, I remember when we had the flood and the United Methodists stayed over in that house and they helped rebuild Rocky Mountain and Princeville. And I remember those hot buildings because I would come in crying to Marsha Bishop, please, I have people over there, payment plan. I don't want to get into all that. But one thing my mother taught me, I don't have to steal. And I have been since I've been in high school, working for Fred Adams and his father, loading truck, I have worked the majority of my life, if not one job, 2 and 3, and still doing that because I like nice things, and I want nice things.
Right.
And you have to work.
All right.
And I come from a family of Rocky Mountain that are working people, and so that's my story.
Well, the other side, I just want to say, I want to remind you, in case you forgot, that behind the misinformation and the targeting of the two of us Some people ran their campaigns on getting rid of us.
Yeah, they're doing it right now.
Some people posted and asked us in public to sign integrity pledges or contracts. The Nash County GOP called for our resignation behind things that were alleged but not proven. But today, when we are sitting here trying to figure out how to get everybody paid, you still want to point to the two of us and implicate the third?
That's right.
And not hold anybody accountable by hiring somebody who was not even qualified to run a department?
That's right.
You better think about it. And we're not afraid to talk about it. I just want you to be clear. I want you to be clear on what the real issues are. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars. And they have vilified Andre Knight for a lie about $47,000.
Come on now.
Now let me see what you talk about.
So,
Go ahead.
Okay.
You better take me on.
so I've got all the questions. I got them compiled. There's some just can't answer. I'm going to compile them all and get them to all of our constituents, and then we will continue the messaging and get all that. But I want to finish on a high note, if we can, because it's been a theme throughout everyone's postings. Is the big question is where do we go from here?
So before we do that, can I clear one thing up, please? It is in the public square, and I said something that is not a good word, but I meant what I said. But anyway, God forgive me. You know, during the budget, you know, it came up about council travel, and I said, well, anyway, I said you can't make that up in travel. That was such a low number, and staff travel and council travel and go to conferences. And most of the conferences that we have been to, we have brought innovation back here. That's how the event center and other things have come to fruition. How to talk to other council members of local government, creating grants and things of that sort. And that's how we found out too, through networking, what happened in that town where that manager came from. And they said, if that person come to a city this size or larger, it's going to be 10 times as worse. So don't think that we are just here. We do get a stipend every month. I forgot how much it is.
$1,500.
15. And it is in the budget that allows for council to travel. I don't want people to think that that caused a deficit, because you cannot $115 million to where we are now. You have to travel all over the world in a yacht,
First class.
first class. So I just want to be honest. Okay.
So just to re-queue it up, and if someone manager, if you want to take it.
No, I'll just say, coming to Rocky Mountain, I've always wanted to be a part of this community. I've seen some of the bad times, a lot of good times, but overall, what I've found about Rocky Mountain, this entire Swift County region, is that you're a resilient community. So I just want to rest assured and let you all know that we will get through this. We're going to have some ups and downs throughout this process, but I know that light at the end of the tunnel is going to be bright, and we're going to be better because of it.
So there's something I do want to go back towards, because you deserve more than nice words. There are agendas that are set every single month. Our committee of the whole agendas have historically been set back prior to me being, I'm the senior council member today, but when I came, and it goes back to, I don't even know when we started doing this, but it is the mayor pro tem that sets the agenda for every discussion at city council committee of the whole meeting. The mayor and the mayor pro tem meet on a regular basis with the city manager. And then it is up to those two individuals to bring information back to the full city council. It is up to the mayor pro tem to be proactive and aggressive with all of us and make sure that on the committee of the whole agendas that we're talking about things that everybody wants to know.
All right.
So we just don't pop up and talk about stuff. It's planned. The budget sessions and what we discuss at budget are set by the manager and the mayor pro tem. So you ask, how do you do better with making us do better? You hold people in leadership accountable for their actions and for the outcomes.
And I tried to be mayor pro tem, I think at least twice, and was outvoted. And I can assure you, if I was the mayor pro tem, the manager would have brought nothing. Come on now. And I mean that. Look at the name and said nothing. Unless I said put it up there. And I meant that. That's why I want no mayor pro tem.
So
you want me to read it?
No, I'm just for your information. So what we're gonna say going forward, the plan is what the manager said it is. We gotta look at our payroll and make sure that we can afford it. We gotta eliminate overtime wherever we can. We gotta ensure that people are on posts where they're supposed to be, doing what they should be doing. And then we got to make sure that we're not spending beyond what our budget requirements are. Programmatically, a majority of us have to agree on what the city priorities are. It's not what one or two people think, it's what a majority thinks. And hopefully it'll be what everybody thinks. But that expectation is set by you. And so if you as citizens don't share with us what's important to you, then we can't create policy around it. We got a tight ship that has to be managed and run. All of us have confidence. Oh, well, I'll say three of us. I think all of us do. You know, we've said it, but y'all want to come back Wednesday and go Thursday. You know, but these two folks right here know what they're doing. They have integrity, and they tell us the truth. Come to the meetings, look online, and if you have problems or don't understand, then that's where you talk with your elected officials.
With that, if we can leave on that positive note, I've gone through them again. Yes, sir.
Let me just say,
Please
I
go
do
ahead.
want to say that no matter what our differences were up until the point, all of us, council, united together, voted to have Elton Daniel as our city manager. All of us made that decision that he is the best choice for us going forward. So he has kept us united with decisions that we have to make going forward. And so, as difficult as it is right now, and we are deeply hurt by the consequences that our citizens will have to face, but he has kept us united and will stay united, and even with after elections, to make the best decisions for our city going forward. And I'm thankful for that.
And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Again, I have all your questions. There's only just a couple that need a little bit of fine tuning, but we hope you got at least 90%. And I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank
We
you.
need y'all to stay vocal though. Even though we know we want you all to work together and come out with plans. But if it's not working, y'all need to come out and stay, because you've been vocal. We want you to stay vocal and letting us know so that we can stand with you and come to these city council meetings like we are tonight and stand with you. You can't get quiet and go in there and we don't know what's going on.
All is well. How you doing now, big man?
That's fine.
Okay, I'm here to thank
Did I give you one? Okay, you're like, please, not another one. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, I had turned in my question about the mayor, and the mayor pro tem is the closest to the city manager. Ruben Blackwell did touch on it, but what I wanted to be made known was, and I've been saying it all the time, the mayor pro tem are the closest to the city manager. When it came time for the mayor pro tem, the year that Andre was mayor pro tem, and he tried to do it twice, they wouldn't do it. But then when TJ Walker became mayor pro tem, they voted him in twice, because that was that majority group trying to keep things in perspective. So after him, then came Lyle Dawson, Mr. Transparent, who has not been transparent about this guy. And then after him, it was Tom Harris. Tom Harris didn't do a bad job because he was not getting, he was asking questions just like the people in the Andre. And when we started disrespecting him, the white man, then all hell came. So there you have it. Y'all have a good one.